The warning lights flashed red across Kira's control panel as her small exploration pod shook violently through the atmosphere of the ice planet. She gripped the controls with her four-fingered hands, trying to stabilize the craft as it plummeted toward the white surface below. Emergency systems failing, the computer announced in her native Zephyrian language. Hull breach detected, landing thrusters offline. Kira's golden skin turned pale as she realized the gravity of her situation. Her people came from desert worlds where the temperature never dropped below what humans would call scorching. This frozen planet was supposed to be a simple mapping mission. Survey the terrain, collect mineral samples, and return to the mothership within 6 hours. Nothing had prepared her for this. The pod struck the ground with tremendous force, throwing Kira against the safety restraints. Ice and snow exploded around the craft as it skidded across the frozen landscape, before finally coming to rest against a large boulder. Steam rose from the damaged hull as the pod's heat met the frigid air outside. Kira unbuckled herself with shaking hands and checked her vital signs monitor. Her core temperature was already dropping. The heating unit sparked and died with a final electronic whimper. Through the cracked viewport, she could see snow beginning to fall more heavily. The weather reports had mentioned a massive storm system approaching this region. She activated her emergency beacon, but the device emitted only broken static. The crash had damaged the communication array. Her rescue team would not be able to locate her until the storm passed, and weather predictions showed the blizzard lasting at least 3 standard days. Kira would not survive 3 hours in this cold. She pulled her emergency survival kit from beneath her seat and wrapped the thermal blanket around her shoulders. The thin material was designed for mild temperature drops, not the killing cold of this world. Already she could feel the numbness spreading through her extremities. "I will not die here," she whispered to herself, though her breath formed visible clouds in the rapidly cooling air of the pod. Meanwhile, 50 kilometers away, human colonist Ben drove his heavy transport vehicle across the snowy terrain. The 6-wheeled vehicle moved steadily through the drifting snow, its heated cabin providing welcome warmth against the outside temperature of -40 degrees. Ben was used to this cold. He had grown up on Earth's northern frontier before joining the colonial expansion program. This ice planet reminded him of the winters back home, though much more extreme. The human settlement had established itself here precisely because other species found the world uninhabitable. It made for peaceful neighbors. His monthly supply run to Research Station 7 was routine work. The scientists there studied ice formations and subsurface minerals. They were good people, but they sometimes forgot to request basic supplies until they were nearly out of food and heating fuel. Ben made sure they stayed fed and warm. The transport's long-range sensors detected an unusual energy signature ahead. Ben frowned at the display. The reading looked like engine emissions, but no human vessels were scheduled in this sector. He increased his speed, curious about the source. As he crested a low ridge, Ben saw the crashed pod in the valley below. The craft was clearly alien in design, with curved lines and metallic surfaces unlike any human engineering. Steam still rose from its damaged hull, indicating the crash was recent. Ben's training told him to report the crash to colonial headquarters and wait for instructions. First contact protocols required careful preparation and specialist teams, but the intensifying snowfall made him pause. The storm would make rescue operations impossible for days. He thought about the being inside that craft. They might be injured or dying while he drove away to follow proper procedures. Ben turned his transport toward the crash site. The vehicle's heavy tires crunched through the snow as he approached the alien pod. Up close, he could see the extent of the damage. The hull was cracked in several places, and one of the landing struts had completely broken off. This had not been a controlled landing. He parked the transport nearby and activated its emergency flashers. The heated cabin would provide shelter if needed. Ben pulled on his insulated suit and checked his portable heater and medical kit. He had basic training in emergency medicine from his colonial service. The pod's airlock had been damaged in the crash, leaving a gap just wide enough for Ben to squeeze through. Inside, the temperature was already well below freezing. His breath formed white clouds as he moved carefully through the cramped interior. "Hello?" he called out in standard colonial English. "Is anyone here? I want to help." A weak sound came from the pilot compartment. Ben found Kira curled in the pilot's seat, wrapped in a thin emergency blanket. Her golden skin had taken on a blue tinge around the edges, and she was shivering uncontrollably. Ben had never seen a Zephyrian before, but he recognized the signs of severe hypothermia regardless of species. Her breathing was shallow and her eyes struggled to focus on him. She tried to speak but only managed to whisper in her own language. "Hey, it's okay," Ben said gently, keeping his voice calm and reassuring. "I'm here to help. Can you understand me?" Kira's eyes widened with confusion and fear. The universal translator built into her equipment had failed with the rest of her systems, but something in the human's tone suggested he meant no harm. Still, her military training made her wary of potential enemies. Ben could see she was in critical condition. He needed to get her somewhere warm immediately. Without hesitation, he scooped her up in his arms, blanket and all. She was lighter than he expected, her frame built for agility rather than strength. Kira tried to resist, but her weakened state made resistance impossible. The human carried her easily through the damaged airlock and across the snow to his vehicle. The warmth hit her like a physical blow as he helped her into the heated cabin. Ben activated the transport's medical scanners and adjusted the cabin temperature to a comfortable level. He wrapped additional thermal blankets around Kira and offered her a warm nutrition packet from his supplies. "This should help," he said, demonstrating how to activate the self-heating meal. "Food will warm you from the inside." Kira watched him warily as she accepted the warm packet. The heat felt wonderful against her numb hands. She had expected interrogation or imprisonment, but this human seemed genuinely concerned about her welfare. He made no demands and asked no questions about her mission or her people. Ben checked his route map and activated the transport's communication system. "Colonial Base, this is Transport 7. I have recovered a survivor from an alien crash site. Proceeding to medical facility. Estimated arrival in 4 hours. Transport 7, what is the status of the alien contact? Are you following proper protocols?" Ben looked at Kira, who was slowly warming up in the heated cabin. Her color was improving and her shivering had decreased. "The survivor is in medical distress. I am providing emergency assistance under colonial humanitarian guidelines." "Understood, Transport 7. Medical team will be standing by." Ben ended the transmission and focused on driving. The snow was falling harder now, reducing visibility to just a few meters. The storm was arriving ahead of schedule, making the journey more dangerous. Kira gradually regained enough strength to speak. Her people's education included basic colonial standard language for diplomatic purposes. "Why?" she managed to ask in accented English. "Why what?" Ben replied, keeping his attention on the difficult driving conditions. "Why help me? Your people and mine are not allies." Ben considered her question as he navigated around a drift of snow. "I don't know much about politics between our peoples, but I couldn't leave someone to freeze to death. That's not who I am." This answer puzzled Kira greatly. In Zephyrian society, interactions between species were governed by careful calculations of advantage and risk. Helping potential enemies was considered foolish at best, treasonous at worst. Yet this human had risked his own safety to save her without any apparent benefit to himself. The journey continued through the worsening storm. Ben shared his emergency rations with Kira and explained the basic functions of the transport's life support systems. He spoke about the human settlement and the research being conducted on the ice planet. His casual conversation helped distract Kira from her lingering discomfort and fear. "How many humans live here?" she asked. "About 2,000 in the main settlement, plus maybe 300 at various research stations. It's not a big colony, but we're growing steadily." Kira processed this information. Her briefings had estimated human population in the tens of thousands, with significant military installations. The reality seemed far more modest and peaceful than intelligence reports suggested. "What do you study here?" "Ice formations mostly. Some mineral extraction. The scientists think this planet's ice contains clues about early planetary formation. I just drive supplies around and keep everyone fed." Ben's humble description of his role contrasted sharply with Kira's expectations. She had been trained to view humans as aggressive expansionists, seeking to dominate strategic resources. This human seemed more interested in scientific discovery and basic survival. The transport struggled through increasingly deep snow drifts as the storm reached full intensity. Ben had to engage the emergency traction systems and reduce speed to maintain control. What should have been a 4-hour journey was extending well beyond that. "The storm is worse than predicted," Ben said, checking the weather data. "We might need to shelter somewhere until it passes." Kira understood the implications. Even with the heated transport, being stranded in this storm would be dangerous. Her own survival depended entirely on this human's skill and determination. There is a maintenance shelter about 20 kilometers ahead, Ben continued, studying his maps. It has basic heating and supplies. We can wait there safely. Ben guided the transport through the blinding snow toward the emergency shelter. The small building appeared through the storm like a welcome beacon. It was a simple structure designed to provide refuge for travelers caught in bad weather. Inside the shelter, Ben activated the heating system and checked the emergency supplies. There were enough rations and fuel to last several days if necessary. He helped Kira settle on one of the simple bunks and made sure she had adequate blankets. "How do you feel?" he asked, checking her condition with a basic medical scanner. "Much better. The warmth has returned to my body." Kira looked at Ben with growing curiosity. "You have saved my life twice now. First from the cold, now from the storm. I do not understand your motivation." Ben sat down across from her and opened one of the emergency meal packets. "Where I come from, we have a saying, leave no one behind. It means you don't abandon people who need help, even if helping them puts you at risk. But I am not one of your people. My species might be your enemy. Are you my enemy?" Ben asked simply. Kira considered the question carefully. "I was sent to survey this world for potential military value. That could make me your enemy, yes. But are you here to hurt anyone right now?" "No, I'm just trying to survive." "Then right now you're not my enemy. Right now you're just someone who needs help." This perspective was completely foreign to Kira's worldview. The idea that enemies could become temporary allies based on immediate circumstances challenged everything she had been taught about interspecies relations. Outside, the storm continued to rage with incredible fury. The shelter shook under the force of the wind, but the solid construction held firm. Ben and Kira settled in to wait for the weather to improve. Two beings from different worlds finding unexpected common ground in their shared struggle against the hostile environment. As the hours passed, Kira found herself studying this human who had saved her life. His actions contradicted every briefing she had received about human nature. Instead of exploitation and aggression, she witnessed compassion and selflessness. Perhaps, she thought, there was more to learn about humans than military intelligence had suggested. The storm finally began to weaken after 18 hours in the emergency shelter. Ben checked the weather monitoring system and saw that the worst had passed, though snow continued to fall steadily outside. "We can continue to the settlement now," he told Kira, who was feeling much stronger after rest and regular warm meals. The main road should be clear enough for travel. Kira helped Ben pack up the emergency supplies and secure the shelter for the next travelers who might need it. She noticed how carefully he maintained everything, ensuring future visitors would find the refuge in good condition. "You do this for strangers you will never meet," she observed. "Someone did it for us when we first arrived on this planet," Ben replied. "The previous survey team left supplies and shelters that saved lives during our early years here. We keep up the tradition." This concept of helping unknown future visitors puzzled Kira further. Zephyrian society focused on immediate family groups and formal alliances. The idea of providing aid to random strangers seemed wasteful of resources. The transport moved slowly but steadily through the deep snow toward the human settlement. As they traveled, Ben pointed out various landmarks and explained the history of the colony. "We started with just 50 people 8 years ago," he said. "Most colonies begin with military installations and resource extraction. But we came here for the research opportunities. The ice formations on this planet are unique in the galaxy." "No military presence at all?" Kira asked. "We have a small security force for emergency situations, but nothing like a real military base. Most of our equipment is for construction and research, not warfare." This information contradicted Kira's intelligence briefings completely. According to Zephyrian military analysis, all human colonies were heavily fortified staging areas for expansion into new territories. As they approached the settlement, Kira saw a collection of modest buildings arranged around a central plaza. Steam rose from various structures indicating extensive heating systems. Greenhouses glowed with artificial light where colonists grew food plants. Children played in protected areas, building snow sculptures and enjoying winter games. "It looks peaceful," Kira said, surprised by her own observation. "We like it that way," Ben replied. Life is hard enough on a planet like this without adding unnecessary conflict. Ben drove directly to the medical facility, where Dr. Anna was waiting with her team. The doctor was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and gentle hands. She helped Kira from the transport and guided her into the warm building. "How are you feeling?" Dr. Anna asked in careful colonial standard, speaking slowly so Kira could understand easily. "Much better, thanks to Ben's help," Kira replied. Dr. Anna smiled. "Ben has a reputation for helping anyone who needs it. Let's get you properly examined and make sure you're fully recovered." The medical examination was thorough but respectful. Dr. Anna explained each procedure and asked permission before conducting any tests. She treated Kira with the same care and dignity she would show any patient, regardless of species. "Your core temperature is back to normal ranges for your people," the doctor concluded. "No signs of permanent damage from the cold exposure. You were very fortunate that Ben found you when he did." Word of the alien visitors spread quickly through the small settlement. Rather than fear or suspicion, the colonists showed curiosity and hospitality. Engineer Tom visited to examine Kira's damaged communication equipment and offer repair assistance. "I've never worked on Zephyrian technology before," Tom admitted, studying the compact device. "But the basic principles look similar to our systems. I think I can fix the primary circuits." Tom worked on the communicator with enthusiasm, treating it as an interesting technical challenge rather than potential enemy equipment. He explained his repair process and asked questions about Zephyrian engineering approaches. "Your people design very efficient systems," he said admiringly. "This communicator is half the size of our equivalent devices, but appears to have better range and clarity." Even the settlement's children showed interest in their unusual visitor. A group of young ones approached Kira shyly, offering her drawings they had made of her pod and portraits showing her golden skin and distinctive features. "We wanted to welcome you to our home," explained Lisa, a girl of perhaps 10 years. "Ben told us you came from far away and got lost in the storm." Kira accepted the artwork with bewildered gratitude. In Zephyrian culture, children rarely interacted with adults outside their family groups, and certainly never with alien strangers. Yet these human youngsters treated her as a natural part of their community. Settlement leader Maria visited to check on Kira's condition and offer assistance. She was a practical woman who had guided the colony through its challenging early years. "We don't get many visitors out here," Maria said, "but anyone who needs help is welcome to stay as long as necessary. Ben tells us your ship was badly damaged. You are not concerned about security risks?" Kira asked. Maria considered the question seriously. "You were nearly dead when Ben found you. You've shown no hostile intentions since arriving. Our scanner readings show you carry no weapons. What exactly should we be concerned about?" This logical, measured response surprised Kira. She had expected interrogation about her mission, demands for information about Zephyrian military capabilities, or at minimum confinement until her identity could be verified. Instead, the humans simply offered help and hospitality while respecting her privacy. Tom completed repairs on Kira's communicator by the 3rd day. The device powered up successfully and established contact with her mothership in orbit. "Exploration Pod 7 to Zephyrian vessel Dawn of Empire," Kira transmitted in her native language. "This is Scout Kira reporting emergency status." "Kira, we have been searching for you since the storm cleared," came the relieved voice of Communications Officer Zara. "What is your condition and location?" "I am uninjured and safe at the human settlement. My pod crashed during the storm, but the humans rescued me and provided medical care." "Humans?" Zara's voice sharpened with concern. "Are you being held prisoner? Do they know your mission?" "I am not a prisoner. They have treated me with kindness and respect. I am free to leave whenever transportation arrives." There was a long pause before Zara responded. "Command wants a full debriefing immediately. We are sending a rescue shuttle to your location." Kira confirmed the transmission and provided coordinates for a landing site near the settlement. As she ended the call, she realized her people would expect detailed intelligence about human defenses, capabilities, and weaknesses. But what would she tell them? The rescue shuttle arrived the next morning, landing in the cleared area that Ben had suggested. Commander Drack emerged with a full security team, weapons ready and shields active. The humans maintained a respectful distance but showed no signs of hostility. Maria approached under a white flag of truce following diplomatic protocols. Welcome to our settlement, she said formally. Your crew member has been our honored guest. We are pleased to return her to you safely. Commander Drack studied the humble human settlement with obvious suspicion. His intelligence reports had described heavily fortified military installations and aggressive expansion forces. Instead, he found what appeared to be a peaceful research colony. We thank you for assisting our scout, he replied stiffly. We will compensate you for any expenses incurred. No compensation is necessary, Maria said. We help anyone in need, regardless of their origin. Kira gathered her few belongings and prepared to leave with her rescue team. As she walked toward the shuttle, the colonists came out to wish her farewell. Ben offered her a small package of emergency rations for the journey home, in case you get hungry on the trip, he said with a smile. Dr. Anna gave her a medical report documenting her treatment. For your ship's medical officer, she explained, so they'll know what care you received. Tom presented her with a small device he had constructed. It's a universal translator calibrated for colonial standard and your language. Maybe it will help if our peoples meet again in the future. Even the children came to say goodbye, presenting her with more drawings and small handmade gifts. Commander Drack watched these interactions with growing confusion. His tactical analysis suggested the humans were either exceptionally skilled at deception or genuinely peaceful. Their behavior matched no known pattern of hostile alien contact. During the flight back to the mothership, Drack questioned Kira extensively about her experiences. Did they interrogate you about our military capabilities? No, Commander. They asked no questions about our people or our mission. Did they attempt to extract technological information from your equipment? They repaired my communicator and returned it without copying any data. Did they threaten you or attempt to recruit you as an intelligence asset? No, Commander. They simply provided medical care and hospitality until rescue arrived. Drack reviewed his notes with growing frustration. Nothing in Kira's report supported the military intelligence assessment of human expansion threats. Aboard the mothership, Kira faced intensive debriefing by Intelligence Command. They wanted detailed information about human population levels, defensive installations, weapon capabilities, and strategic resources. The settlement contains approximately 2,000 civilians, Kira reported truthfully. Their primary activities appear to be scientific research and resource extraction for colony support. I observed no significant military installations or weapons systems. Surely they must have hidden defensive capabilities, pressed Intelligence. Commander Vex, no species expands into contested territory without adequate protection. I can only report what I observed, Commander. The humans showed no signs of military aggression or defensive preparations beyond basic colony security. The debriefing continued for hours. Kira answered every question honestly, but her responses consistently contradicted expected intelligence patterns. Her handlers grew increasingly frustrated with her apparent inability to provide useful military intelligence. Finally, Supreme Commander Thane called for a private meeting with Kira. He was an old soldier who had fought in numerous expansion campaigns against other species. Tell me honestly, Scout Kira, he said, what is your assessment of the human threat level? Kira considered her answer carefully. Based on my direct experience, Commander, I do not believe the humans pose a significant military threat to our expansion in this sector. Explain your reasoning. Their population is small and focused on peaceful activities. They showed no hostility even when presented with an opportunity to capture enemy intelligence. Their technology appears oriented towards survival and research rather than warfare. Most significantly, their behavior suggests a preference for cooperation over conflict. Commander Thane leaned back in his chair. You realize this assessment contradicts everything our intelligence services have reported about human expansion patterns? Yes, Commander, but I can only report what I witnessed personally. And what did you witness that leads you to this conclusion? Kira thought about Ben risking his life to save a stranger in the storm. She remembered Dr. Anna's gentle care and Tom's generous assistance with her equipment. She recalled the children offering friendship and the entire community extending hospitality to an unknown alien. I witnessed a species that values life and offers help to those in need, regardless of personal cost or benefit, she said finally. That is not the behavior of an aggressive expansion force. Commander Thane studied Kira for a long moment. You understand that recommending peaceful contact rather than military action is a significant decision? Our entire expansion strategy in this sector depends on accurate threat assessment. I understand, Commander. But based on my experience, I believe peaceful contact offers better prospects than military confrontation. After Kira left the meeting, Commander Thane spent hours reviewing her report and comparing it with previous intelligence assessments. Her first-hand observations carried significant weight, but they challenged fundamental assumptions about human behavior. 3 days later, the Zephyrian High Command made an unprecedented decision. Instead of proceeding with planned military expansion, they would authorize the first peaceful first contact mission in their species' history. Kira was selected to serve as the primary liaison for the contact mission. Her experience with human culture and her personal relationship with the colonists made her the logical choice for this groundbreaking assignment. When the Zephyrian diplomatic vessel returned to the ice planet, they found the human settlement prepared for formal contact. Maria had consulted with Colonial Command and received authorization to negotiate preliminary agreements. Ben was chosen to serve as the human liaison, partly because of his existing relationship with Kira, but mainly because his actions had made the peaceful contact possible. The first formal meeting between the two species took place in the settlement's community center. Representatives from both sides gathered around tables warmed by heating units, sharing meals and beginning the slow process of building trust. "This is remarkable," Commander Thane observed to Kira as they watched humans and Zephyrians working together to establish communication protocols. "I have never seen successful peaceful contact develop so quickly." "It started with one human who chose compassion over fear," Kira replied. "Sometimes the smallest actions create the largest changes." As the diplomatic discussions continued, Kira often found herself thinking about those desperate hours when Ben had risked everything to save a dying stranger. His simple act of kindness had prevented a war and opened possibilities for cooperation that neither species had imagined. The warmth she had felt in that freezing transport had been more than just physical rescue. It had been the beginning of understanding that different species could choose friendship over fear, cooperation over conflict. Ben's human touch had indeed changed everything.